in your term sheet. You go to an attorney. Hopefully it's the attorney that you're going to be using for your SEC offering, okay? And then that attorney spins that off, okay? And then he improves it. And then that way you're not taking the same term sheet that you took to your friends and family to the angel investors, because now it's a little more sophisticated because the friends and family helped you support to get the better term sheet to go to the investors now. I mean the angel investors. And now the angel investors are going to pitch in so that way you have that better term sheet, so that way you could do the symposium and going around and doing a few pitches in the dog and pony shows. You see what I'm saying? So each one gets you more refined. Each round, and that's why they call it round of financing, those rounds help you do that. Now, what you want to avoid, guys, is you want to avoid, a lot, not saying necessarily, but, you might want to consider there's different types of term sheets. And Ron, what we could do is we could get into a whole show about the different term sheets, because there's a straight up equity, okay? Then there's one that you can do a term sheet for debt. Okay, you could sell debt in the company, like, you could do $150,000, and it's all debt. So what I mean by debt is that, you're going to finance it. So it's 7% or 8%, and people buy some of the debt. So you're doing say you're doing the same $200,000, right, that we talked about, but now you have a term sheet that says, okay, look, I'm selling debt. It's $100,000. I'm looking to raise $200,000 in a form of debt. I got 10% interest. It's backed by a warrant, so if you buy some, I'll secure you with a warrant that you can buy later on at a discount. There's a lot of different, formulations that you can use, okay, to bring in that money. I mean, I've seen, straight up equity. I'm selling equity at $1, or 50 cents or however, straight up equity. You buy a share, I give you a share of company. I'll do a combination of equity and debt. You buy 50% of equity, buy $50,000 in debt, and buy $50,000 in equity. That way, you guys are balanced out real nice. So the equity, gets you a return on dividends, and the the debt gets you a percentage of principal, right? So you get principal and interest to pay back to you on the equity. I mean, Ron, there's so many different ways of doing it.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're going to have to do a show just on that for sure, because I'm telling you, Miguel, anyone listening to this right now is probably that's a big takeaway from them, and we're kind of running out of time here, but we should certainly do a show on that topic. I think that's really important as well. I mean, this topic just killed it. I mean, I'm telling you, this is one of the biggest questions that everyone asks.
Well, Ron, and there's no one way of doing it, guys. That's why you got to get out there. I mean, if you're not getting out there, and if you're not getting out there, you're not doing anything. It takes a lot of work to raise money. And and Ron and I'm always telling people, when you're raising money the right way, it's a lot of work. It's just not, I'm going to go to see a couple of people. You got to knock down. You're going to have to get rejected a lot more times than you get a check stroked. But when you get that check stroke, it makes it all worthwhile. All right, guys? And that's all I got for you today. Hey, Robert, man, as always, I hope that I answered your question, dude. I hope that I got to the basis of our conversation, and hopefully I got you a better understanding of what you need to be looking for when you're trying to do these offerings and trying to get this initial, what we call the initial seed money for your project. Okay, dude. Any questions that you have, keep them coming. We appreciate the support. We appreciate it very, very much. And you guys have a good one. And Ron, let's keep it going, buddy. And I'll see you around the office. All right.
Yeah, and before we go, Miguel, just to let everyone know, we're at Reg.A Money.com, Rega Money.com. There's a link there for the show. If you want to ask a question, just click on that link and fill out the form, and we'll answer your questions if we can get to it, and we get a lot of them, as well as if you want to be a guest on the show. We're always looking for guests, too, especially for contenders. We like that term, Reg.A contenders. We love it. And lastly, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, just iTunes, we're everywhere, Miguel. And, of course, if you go to Google, just type in Reg.A Podcast, all those links will show up. Everyone, thanks so much for listening to the show today. We really appreciate our listeners. Subscribe to the show, and we'll be at you next week with another Reg.A Money Show. Have a great week, folks.